was discovered 50 back, 50 or 60 back. DNA structure was discovered, right? So it's a very old story that on that time people used to think that people used to think that characteristic from their parents to children transfer through the blood. Then some more scientists came. They said that characteristic from parents to their children, they transfer from protein, right? Sorry. Then Mendel came. Mendel said that parents have a particular physical thing. Please try to understand me what exactly I want to say. Something physical means it can be seen, it can be touched, it can be visualized, right? So Mendel said that Mendel did not say that the gene transfer from parent to their offspring. Please try to understand. Normally at the class 10th level, people student think that this is the gene which transfer. Mendel said that the gene transfer from parent to their offspring and characteristic represent. It's not like that. Mendel do not have any idea about DNA. Mendel do not have any idea about the genes. DNA was discovered in the 1900, right? And gene were discovered on the later on, right? After 1950, 1960, gene were discovered, right? So it's a very later stage of the biological researches. It was discovered. Mendel do not have any idea about the cell. Please try to understand. Mendel do not have idea about the cell. Mendel do not have idea about the cell division. Mendel do not have idea about the genes. Mendel do not have idea about the DNA. These discoveries were not done at the time of the Mendel. Then Mendel said that there are certain factors which transfer from one generation to another, and these factors bring the characteristic of parent to their offspring. Why every time I am using offspring? When you to use a biological term offspring, it means the children of anything, right? Children term you can use for the humans, right? Cubs, pups, right? These terms can use different for different animal. When you say offspring, means it may be the children of plant, it may be the progenies of buffalo, anything, goat, birds, plant, anything, right? So Mendel says that transfer of factor takes place from one generation to another, which bring down the characteristic of parents to their offspring. And these factors are physical unit. Later on, it was discovered, Mendel was correct. These factor are basically genes or chromosomes, right? So this was the discovery of the Mendel. Mendel was basically a person who used to live in Austria, right? He born in Austria, right? And he was from the Austria. Do you know? I have idea about the Austria. You must have the idea about the
Yeah.
Austria. Yeah. So, what is the relevance of Austria? Anybody of you? I'm just checking the general knowledge of yours.
Psychology place, like psychology
Sorry,
was
called.
as a place where like psychology was mostly.
Okay. Anyone else?
Uh, any like some nationalism, like a war happened there, World War.
Very good, very good. You have close idea. Tell me. Yes.
The countries which were there for like the World War One.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Actually, this excellent. I am really impressed with your knowledge, uh, because and it should be with the students that you must have knowledge of the word. When we talk about any subject, we must have the knowledge relevance. We must have the knowledge about the rest of the things which are correlated with it. And I love to teach it because you get the extra knowledge. Very good. Actually, the World War started from the Austria, Serbia. The Prince of the Austria um, uh, had been killed in the Serbia. Then Austria attacked in the Serbia, and the World War started. So first it started from there, right? And Austria is the power center of even today. Austria is the actually nuclear capital of the world today. In Austria, basically nowadays today, in Austria there is an International Atomic Research Institute. So that is that govern the atomic activity, nuclear activity of the world. IEAE have its head office in Austria right now, and Mendel was born in this city. It's a very beautiful city, and it's a very beautiful country. And they have in the number of the indexes, they are at the top. Right, it's a very good European city. So that is the relevance of the Austria, and Mendel was born over there. So Mendel said, Mendel given his, did not given any rule. Mendel represented his paper, right? Mendel represented his research paper, right? When Mendel represented his research paper, nobody just put attention to the Mendel. Nobody given importance to Mendel. Just a second. Why? Because that was the era when the charm of the Darwin was everywhere. People just used to listen Darwin. People just used to believe on the theory of Darwin, and theory of Darwin dominated at that like in that way that nobody want to listen these small scientists. So in the 1866, Mendel, it is written over here, and that I want you to note it down. In 1866, Mendel, in annual proceeding of Natural History Society, Brunn. Brunn is a city in Austria, right? Brunn. He represented his research paper. Please note it down. In 1866, in okay, so I think I haven't dictated the definition of heredity. No.
You have done.
Okay, yeah, please note it down. First, note down the definition of heredity. Heredity. Transfer of characteristics.
You did. You did.
I did. Okay, yeah, fine.
Oh yeah.
So in 1866, Mendel presented his research paper, in the annual proceeding of Natural History Society at Brunn, Brunn, Brunn. Full stop. Nobody given attention to him. Nobody given attention to his researches. Nobody given attention to his researches, as that was the era of dominance of Darwinian theory, or theory
What
of
was the
Darwin.
spelling?
DWARNIN, Darwinian theory. Full stop. Mendel died in 1884. Mendel died in 1884. Now there is a next paragraph. Before writing out down, I want to know. I want to tell you. Actually, Mendel died in 1866. After 1866 till 1900, nobody worried about the Mendel. But in 1900, rediscovery of Mendel started. There was some scientists from the different country individually. There was a scientist, his name was Hugo de Vries. He was from Netherlands. Karl Correns, he was from the Germany, and Erich von Tesmark, he was from the Austria, right? These both scientists, these all three scientists, they restudied Mendel, they did research on the Mendel, and they came to know whatever Mendel said, it was really amazing. It was just amazing thing, and it was like they were just astonished, right? These were correct, and they did multiple experiment, and everywhere Mendel was correct. And Mendel did not given any law. These three scientists given Mendelian law. The Mendelian law, whatever the law you study today, it were not given. These were not given by the Mendel. Actually, these were given by. It was propounded by the Mendel. Theory was made by the. Everything was Mendel. But Mendelian law were made by Hugo de Vries, Karl Correns, and Erwin Teschmark. Right? These all three scientists, one more important thing which I want to tell you, these all three scientists, they did their experiment of the genetics in plant, and Mendel also did the experiment in the plant. That was the pea plant, right? Pea plant, right? Then there was one more scientist, W. Batson. It is written on W. Batson did experiment on the animals, and he find yes, Mendel is also correct on the animals. Means the heredity and transfer of the characteristic, the way Mendel told, it is applicable on the plant as well as on, right? So this was the rich discovery. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please start noting down again. Next paragraph. 1900, in 1900, rediscovery of, in 1900, rediscovery of Mendel's finding were done. Full stop. Three scientists, write in this way only. Three scientists, Hugo de Vries, HUGO DE VRIES, Hugo de Vries from Netherlands, comma, Karl Correns, KARL, Karl Correns, KARLCORREN, Karl Correns from Germany, and Erich Teschmark, ERIC, Erich von VN, ERIC, Erich von Teschmark, TESHMARK, Teschmark from Australia, rediscovered Mendelian finding, and on the basis of his finding, and on the basis of his finding given Mendelian laws of Mendel's, given laws of Mendel. Full stop. Note, W. Batson, BATESON, W. Batson did experiment on animals. W. Batson did experiment on animals and proved that it is also applicable on, it is also applicable on, it is also applicable on animals. Is that clear? Everything is clear to you, all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Very good. Now, one more important thing which I want to share with you, that Mendel did his experiment on sweet pea. Sweet pea, which we use in general in our vegetable, that is also called edible pea, right? So the scientific name is Pisum sativum. It is written over here. Scientific name is Pisum sativum, right? And this is called garden pea or edible pea, right? Why I am telling you? Because there is one more pea, that is wild pea, and that is Lethyrus odoratus, right? So there are two pea, and the experiment have also been done on the Lethyrus odoratus as well, right? So you have to know that the name of that pea, that generally we call that garden pea, edible pea. This is the pea which we use in vegetable, and the name is the Pisum sativum, not Lethyrus odoratus, right? Okay. So the question you can get in your examination, that why Mendel choose sweet pea or Pisum sativum for his experiment. There are certain points. First, I will explain, then you have to write it down, right? First, the Mendel choose the sweet pea as its experimental plant or as experimental organism. There are following reasons. First, it have contrasting characteristic. How contrasting characteristic? one plant is small, another is tall. One plant have white flower, another flower have pink flower, right? So these type, one flower have one plant have yellow color pod, and another plant have green color pod. So contrasting characteristic were present, right? First. Second thing, that plant was bisexual. What does it mean by bisexual? Means in the same flower, male and female sexual organs were present, right? Means the same flower have pistil and the same flower also have anther. Means both male and female sex are present on the same flower, right? These kind of the flowers are called bisexual. Some plants have unisexual flowers. Means one flower will have a male sex organ only, not female. Another will have female only, not the male, right? So this is the unisexual. That is called unisexual, right? So it have the bisexual flowers, right? Means both of the sexes are present. Third, artificial cross pollination could be easily achieved, right? Means they can be pollinated, means they can be crossed artificially, right? That is also easily available. That can be done easily. Fourth reason, they have short lifespan, so that the multiple generations can be grown in a single year, right? Their lifespan is very short, like 3 months, right? So they can be, so in 1 year you can grow the 3 generation, right? So you can study them, they are 3 generation in a single year. So that was fourth reason. Fifth reason, seed production at every generation. They produced number of the seed in every generation, right? So it was beneficial, it was good for his researches. Sixth thing, it was economical, means it was cheap to easy, that you need not to do you know do not need to make a lab and all that. It can be easily grown in outside of your garden or lawn, right? So it was economical. And seventh, pure or true weeding. What does it mean by pure or true weeding? Means if you have a if you have a long tall plant, means generation after generation that will always remain the tall, right? So that is called pure or true weeding, right? So that was the 7 characteristic. On the basis of 7 characteristic, Mendel chosen the P as a experimental organism, right? So please note it down. Heading is why Mendel chosen P plant, why Mendel chosen P plant as his experimental organism, as his experimental organism. Full stop. Now there is an answer. Mendel chosen garden pea or edible pea. Mendel chosen garden pea or edible pea as, in bracket please write it down, Pisum sativum, as his experimental plant because of following characteristic. Full stop. Number one, plant have contrasting trait. Plant have contrasting trait, like if tall plant is present, then short is also available. If tall plant is present, then short is also available. Second point, plant have pea plant have bisexual flowers. Pea plant have bisexual flowers. Hence, it can be pea plant have bisexual flower. Hence, it can be, sorry, not it can be. Hence, it is self-pollinated. Self-pollinated. Self-pollinated means their own pollen grain falls on own stigma, right? Self-pollinated, right? Hence, it can be, hence it is self-pollinated. Full stop. Third point. Artificial or cross-pollination. Artificial or cross-pollination means pollen grain of, take out the pollen grain of one flower and spray or dust it on the another flower, right? You can do it easily by yourself, right? Artificial or cross pollination could be, artificial or cross pollination could be easily achieved. Fourth, it have short life cycle. It have short life cycle. It have short life cycle. That is, many generations can be grown. That is, many generations can be grown in a small time period. Fifth, they produces multiple seed in a year. They produces multiple seed in a year. That is good for experiment. That is good for experiment. Next, it was economical. It was economical to grow. It was economical to grow, which is good to conduct, which is good, which is good to conduct, which is good to conduct experiment. Next, pure or true breeding plant, pure or true breeding plant, that is pure tall or pure short, pure or true breeding plant, that is pure tall or pure short, can be easily seen. Look, now it must be visible to you on your screen that these were the contrasting character which were taken by the Mendel, right? Look, I want to tell you these were the contrasting character. So actually Mendel taken 7 contrasting characteristics. Please try to understand. Mendel taken 7 contrasting characteristics. First was seed shape. Round, you have to take the screenshot of this one, right? And you have to note it down at your textbook, notebook. So seed shape, round seed shape, its shape is round, and wrinkle seed. There is a wrinkle on the skin of the seed, right? Seed color. yellow seed color, green seed color. Pod shape, inflated. This is inflated, means smooth edges, right? This is constricted. There are constriction after every seed, right? Then pod color. There are, if green, so these are the contrasting characteristic only. This is the green pod, yellow pod is present. Flower color, purple flower, white flower. Flower location, this is the axial location, this is the terminal location. Plant size, tall plant and short plant, right? So these are the 7 contrasting characteristics which were present, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please take the screenshot, then we will go ahead. Done? Taken?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me check your NCERT. What is the next one? We are told. Okay. Now the Mendel's cross. Mendel's contribution. Okay. Now Mendel's law of Mendel, right? Mendelian law. What is the Mendel law? Then sex determination. Okay. Right. So now the next one is, that is the Mendelian law, right? That's what I want to tell you. The law of Mendel, right? You know, whatever is written in your, this PPT, everything is not for you, right? It's not everything for you. Whatever I tell you, that is for you, right? Look, it is written over. This is written that there are the 4 law. Actually, they are the 4 law, but this is not for you. We teach it for the medical student. There are 4 laws, right? Normally, now at this point of time, you have to understand only 3 laws, right? The first law is law of dominance, right? Second law is law of segregation, right? Put the heading laws of Mendel. You have to skip the first one, law of paired factor. First one, law of dominance, DOMINANCE. Law of segregation, SEGREGARTIUN, segregation. Law of independent assortment. Right, now we have to understand what is the law of dominance. Right, what is the law of dominance? Look, to understand law of dominance, what Mendel did, we know that the every plant and every animal, like most of the plant and most of the animal, they have 2 pair of genes, chromosome, right? Like we have, like if we are male, if I'm male, then I have X and Y, that is a pair of chromosome, right? And if someone is girl, that is the XX, 2 pair of chromosome. In the same way, every plant or animal, they have the pair of chromosome, right? Same way the plant have the pair of chromosome, right? So look, what he did, Mendel taken first a tall plant, right? And he taken the tall plant, this characteristic of the length of the plant means tallness. It is represented by a pair of gene capital T, capital T. Then he taken a dwarf plant, right? Capital T, small t, right? During the formation of gamete, when formation of pollen grain and egg take place, means formation of sperm and egg takes place, only sperm have single chromosome and set, and the egg have single chromosome set. Then what we did, then he cross capital T, small t, right? So both were to cross. What will happen, that the plant which will be formed, capital T, small t, right? So the plant, the next generation means their offspring will have, this is called F1 offspring, filial one, right? So the 4 plant were formed, right? 4 plant were formed, and it is seen that all the plants are tall one, right? So what happened with the small t? The capital T dominated on small t, right? Capital T dominated on small t, right? Then all the plants were tall. What happened with the short gene? I told you that there are chances, fair enough chances, that gene is present inside you, but it do not represent us. I told you with the example that my grandmother have the blue color eye genes, my father have the blue color eye genes, I have the blue color eye genes, but my eyes were not blue. Why? Because the eye gene was that the blue color gene, that was the recessive in me, hidden in me, and black eye gene was dominated in me. That's why I have the black eyes, right? But yes, the blue color gene is present in me, but it did not represent itself. In the same way, here the gene for the shortness or dwarfness is present, but in front of capital T, that is the gene of the tall, it do not represent itself. Then what happened in F1 generation? All the plant were tall. Then what happened? Again, these were self, means the crossing will take place, right? These were crossed. Capital T, small t, capital T, small t. What happened? Then again, capital T, small t, capital T, small t get segregated. They can again the crossing done. I think you must not be able to understand this crossing type. Just a minute. Let me look. Law of dominance. Just a minute, give me 1 second. How the crossing is done, that's what I want to tell you. So, suppose that there is a tall plant, right? So this is a tall plant, right? And there are, I have taken a short plant, right? So there is short plant, right? So this is a short one, right? Now for the long one, I have taken the characteristic, I have taken the gene capital T, capital. 2 genes are present in a parental plant, right? Then for the short one, I have taken small t and small t. What will happen before going into next generation? These both of the t will get separated. Means both of the genes will get separated, right? So capital V T will get separated, right? This capital T will get separated from this capital T. So both of the capital T will get separated. In the same way, what will happen during the pollen grain formation or during the sperm formation? In the same way, what will happen with another female plant? In the female plant, both of the T will get separated. This T will get separated during the egg formation from the another T, right? It will get separated. How the cross is made? So the above one, these are the parental plant. We call them P generation, right? Parental plant means P generation. Try to understand. I want your 100% focus. This is called P generation, right? Now what will happen? Look. Now these T, look. Now what we have to do, what we will do, we will cross like this way. We will take this T and then we will cross with this T. So what will be the combination? Combination will be capital T and small t, right? Then what we will do? Then we will take this T, again this T, please try to understand. And we will cross with this T. What will happen? Again, the combination will be capital T and small t will be formed, right? Now again, what will take? We will take this T, this capital T. Then we will take this capital T and we'll cross with this one. Then the outcome is capital T, small t, right? Again, what we will do? We will take this one and we will cross with this one. What is the combination? Capital T and then small t. Now what will happen? All the plant will have combination. What is the combination? Capital T and a small t. Both of the gene were present, right? Try to understand. Both of the gene were present. But what happened? The small, this dwarf gene do not represent itself. All are tall plant. All plant are tall. All plant are tall, right? So what will happen? Here I will say that the characteristic of tall dominate over the what? Where? Characteristic of dwarfness, right? So here what we'll say? We will say this tallness, this tall characteristic, this is the dominant characteristic. This is, and the gene of tallness is dominance, right? Dominant. And the gene which do not represent itself, right, in F1 generation, this generation is called F1 generation, right? And the gene which do not represent itself in F1 generation, we call it recessive gene. What we call it? Recessive. RECE. Yes.
The one which I learned, it was like there are two like T's, capital T's, right? And then short T, there are small two T's. And then we will take one gamete, like from here capital
Right.
T and from
Right.
here small t.
Right.
Then
Right.
we will combine them and then we
Right.
will write it twice and multiply them together. And then
Exactly. We'll take one and multiply with both of them. Then again take one and multiply with both of them. Right. That's how
yeah.
that's how we form it. You have to note it down like this way only. Please just note it down the cross. This is called cross. We have taken only one characteristic. That is the characteristic of tallness. This is called monohybrid cross, right? And suppose that you have taken the characteristic of two, tallness of the plant and color of the flower. So you have taken two characteristics. Then we will call it dihybrid cross. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first note it down. Log down.
Done, sir.
Note it down.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the law of dominance? Look, law of dominance is, please try to understand what I am saying. Suppose that my mother have, right? Please try to understand. My mother have blue color eyes. My father have black color eyes. Now, the eye color gene, one gene will come from my mother. One gene, so they are the parent, P1 generation. One gene, eye color gene will come from my mother. That is blue eye gene, small b. Now, one gene for black eye will come from my father, but I have black eye. What does it mean? It means that I have both of the pair of, everybody have two pair of genes, right? Eye color gene, I have, one pair of genes, right? A blue color eye gene and a black color eye gene, but my eyes are black. It means that the blue color eye gene did not represented in me. So what you will say? You will say, sir, black color eye gene is a dominant gene and blue color eye gene is recessive gene. This dominant gene, right? When both are present in the same person, only the dominant represent itself and the recessive do not represent it. Then when recessive will represent itself, when the both of the pair will be recessive, when both of the genes will have small b, means both of the genes are present in the like way. Please try to understand. Like my father also have blue eye, my mother also have blue eye. Both have recessive gene. When I will get the gene, I will get the blue eye gene from the both. Then both recessive gene will come to me. I will have blue eyes. Did you got my point?
Yes, sir.
So my father is parental generation and I am F1 generation, and my son will be F2 generation, like crossing in this one, crossing in P plant, right? Please try to understand and please write it down. Law of dominance. Law of dominance. When two individual of two organism of contrasting characteristic, when two organism of contrasting characteristic cross with each other, full stop.
Sir, say again. Contrasting characteristics.
When two organism with contrasting characteristic are crossed with each other, crossed with each other,
When two what?
when two organism with contrasting characteristic crossed with each other, full stop. In F1 generation, in F1 generation, only one characteristic is represented, but another characteristic is not represented. This is called law of dominance. This is called law of dominance.
Sir, what is allegory?
Sorry,
Allegory.
allegory.
Yeah, ALLEGORY.
Where it is written?
No, when I studied at school, ma'am told about this, but I didn't heard it.
Allegory. I don't have any idea.
It was in law.
Law of allegory. That is law.
No.
Oh,
It was in the law, Mendel's law.
okay. Uh, mm, can you read out that line? What is written over there?
No, ma'am
Because
told us about this in school, and she told about it, but I didn't heard what she said. So I was asking.
actually, I didn't listen that name, that allegory, because genetics is my actually specialization, and even I haven't like that gone through it. Just give me first one. What you told? What you told? Told ALL. Once again, ALL.
ALLE.
ALLE.
Yeah.
GORE.
GORY.
Okay, GORY. Oh, this is means interval, gap. It have nothing to do with botany. Means allegory means matlab, means what she want to say. She want to say that there is a like uh, the gap between the generation, that will be called allegory. Interval. It means interval or gap.
Oh, okay.
That's why actually, I did my PhD with the genetics only. That is my actually specialization part. I did the masters with the same genetics and cell biology. So it's a very beautiful subject. Actually, genetics is very beautiful subject. So allegory means that is a gap or this one. It's just a it's a Latin term actually. So you will get many of these kind of the terms, like F1 means filial generation, but normally we do not use F filial and all that, these kind of the terms, because they are the basically Latin terms. Okay, so in F1 generation, the characteristic which represent itself, the characteristic which represent itself called dominant and which do not represent or express.
So can you say again?
And in F1 generation, the characteristic which express itself is called dominant, which express itself is called dominant, and which is unable to express, is called recessive, one. Full stop. This is called law of dominance. Okay.
Yes,
So in
sir.
the next class, we'll study about the law of segregation, law of independent assortment, and all that, right? And then we'll start with the evolution. Okay. So did you got this thing, this law of dominance? Go to your
Yes,
home,
sir.
study again. If you didn't got, I will make you understand again. Hamna, Ayman, please tell me. Martin,
Yes, sir.
got it? Okay. So see you next class, right? Bye bye. Take care. Good night.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome,
Thank you,
welcome,
sir.
welcome, welcome.